Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. Oh yes I know, 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 oh yes I know. Justice is coming, justice is coming, justice is coming, oh yes I know. Justice is coming, justice is coming, justice is coming, oh yes I know. Oh yes I know, 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 oh yes I know. World peace is coming, world peace is coming, world peace is coming, oh yes I know. World peace is coming, world peace is coming, world peace is coming, oh yes I know. Oh yes I know, 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 oh yes I know.
Our opening words today are called The Flames of Love. They were written by Reverend Kimmy Floyd Reich. We light the flame of commitment with a boom. To stand with and to work to create change until all know they are loved. We light the flames of survival, grateful for our lives, remembering in love those lost along the road. We light the flame of change, committing to recenter towards love in hearts, in minds, in our world. We light the flame of hope, loving each other, building community, even when it's uncomfortable. We light the flame of knowledge, following the path of justice, justice that love embodied. We light this flame of radical love to speak out for those who have been silenced, those who have been rejected for who they love, those who have been persecuted for who they are, those who have been bullied for daring to be bold, those who have been othered and forced into the margins, those who have been lonely, those who have been hurt, those who are still hurting. We light this flame as people committed. We are survivors. We will change the world until no one lives without hope, until no lives without justice. We light this flame and pledge that in love, with love, through love, all things are possible. Will you please rise and in body or spirit for our opening hymn? It's in the Teal hymnal, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Dina McFeeters, and I'm always pleased to serve as your associate minister, just helping Kimberly out a little bit today by dropping loud things on the floor and by reading the story she selected. It's called Ish by Peter H. Reynolds, and it goes like this. Ramon loved to draw. He would draw anything at any time and anywhere. One day, Ramon was drawing a vase of flowers. His brother Leon leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What is that?" he asked. Ramon could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Ramon. He kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Ramon put his pencil down. "I'm done." I know. So sad. Marisol, his sister, was watching him. What do you want? He snapped. Well, I was watching you draw, she said. Ramon sneered. I'm not drawing. Go away. Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumpled sheet of paper. Hey, come back here with that. Ramon raced after Marisol, up the hall and into her room. He was about to yell, but when he walked into the room, he fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. What do you think was on her walls? Drawings! Ramon's drawings! Crumpled sheets of paper opened up and flattened out and taped all over her walls. It was a crumpled gallery. This is one of my favorites, Marisol said, pointing. Oh, that was supposed to be a vase of flowers, Ramon said, but it doesn't look like one. Well, it looks vase-ish. Vase-ish? Ramon looked closer. Then he studied all the drawings on Marisol's walls and began to see them in a whole new way. They do look ish, he said. Ramon felt light and energized, thinking ishly. I think there's some resonance going on here. I think these are people who might pick up a pen or a pencil or a paintbrush later today and try it all over again. Well, Ramon really liked thinking ishly because it allowed his ideas to flow freely. And he began to draw what he felt. Loose lines quickly springing out without worry. He, once again, drew and drew the world around him. Making an ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals. Tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, sun-ish. Ramon realized he could draw ish feelings too. Peace-ish, silly-ish, excited-ish. His ish art then inspired ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. One spring morning, Ramon had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply lay back against a warm rock in the sun and savored it. And Ramon lived ishfully ever after. The end. I dropped another something. There's a pencil on its way somewhere.
Oh, we're going to enter a time of meditation with a smile on our face right now. It will be followed by silence and then followed by the seated singing of Spirit of Life. This is the home that love made. It is full of love that the founders felt, that the babies cried, that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and they raised these beams for us. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated, those who have grieved here, the babies dedicated, the couples married, the family members who mourned here. This is the house that love made, It is full of the love of our children as they learn and laugh together, and of their youth as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. This is the home that love made. It is full of love of the staff who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation, their hard work, and their acts of dedication. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of the choir, the love made so clear in the voices lifted here on Sunday morning. This is the home that love made. It is full of love, the love of this community, despite our differences and our disagreements, the love that holds us together as a people. This is the home that love made. Can you feel it? I hope you do. It is yours. It is ours. We create it together. May the love be with us always. Amen.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I'm Nancy Spranzy, and I am pleased to serve as your worship associate. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all the people watching online as we live stream this service. We especially welcome guests joining us today. If you are a visiting guest, we invite you to fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in a few minutes. No, in the pew rack now, in front of you, and drop it in the offering plate in a few minutes. Please join us for a social hour after the service across the hall in the Leanhouse Common Room. Some accessibility notes: you can find hearing assist devices and large print hymnals and orders of service at the back of the sanctuary, as well as worship activity bags for children and anyone who wants them. There is a fragrance-free area in the front right pews. If you're watching online, you can enable YouTube's closed captioning on your viewing device. A couple of announcements. There's nothing like getting a real letter. We are thrilled to open up sign-ups for Mystery Friends now until February 4th. Once you've signed up, religious education staff will pair you with a friend, and you will exchange short letters each week for a month. On Sunday, March 17th, we celebrate with a party to reveal the mystery, allowing friends to finally meet face to face. To sign up, you can find information at the religious education table. The deadline to sign up for the silent retreat is coming up. To learn more about the upcoming silent retreat in April, stop by the easel during coffee hour today. I welcome you to share in our first church worship and purpose by inviting you to join me in a unison affirmation of our mission, which is printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Every week, we have an opportunity to practice our values through sharing our resources. Our pledges are at the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, the church shares half of all the non-pledged cash in our offering plate with a community organization, practicing our value of interdependence. Today, we share the plate with Community Center for Immigrants. Community Center for Immigrants promotes integration into American society by providing educational, legal, and social services to Milwaukee's immigrant and refugee community. May the practice of giving bring us joy. The offering will now be gratefully received. As seated, we together sing our children's recessional hymn found in your order of service, "Oh, I Woke Up This Morning." I invite all children, youth, and RE volunteers to sing the first verse of the hymn, and then follow Reverend Dina to the Leanhouse Common Room, and then downstairs for religious education. If your child needs to check in for religious education, please accompany them to the Common Room now. Join us in singing, "Oh, I Woke Up This Morning." When we take our infant home for the first time, we have hopes and dreams. They are not necessarily realistic, but they are real nonetheless. We took Anne home at the age of 3 days. The nurses at the hospital had done her hair up in a little do. The social worker at the adoption agency had provided an outfit for her to wear. We knew a little about parenting since we already had a 2-year-old, but nothing about culture, prejudice, and what it means to be Black in the United States. This was 51 years ago. We had grown up in Iowa, in white communities, with little ethnic knowledge. We were in college in the early 60s, before the civil rights movement for racial justice gained traction. We had so much to learn. Anne proved to be a handful. She was a fussy baby, slow to walk. When she did walk, she walked like a drunken sailor. And we ended up taking her to a pediatrician who sent us to an orthopedist who told us she had scoliosis. During childhood, tantrums and sleeping problems were frequent. She had trouble learning in school. In 8th grade, she was kicked out of 2 junior highs and ended up in a school for emotionally disturbed children, where she thrived because of a gifted and loving teacher. She refused to attend high school. We would drive her to school, accompany her inside. We would drive to work, and she would walk out of school. Some of the people we knew suggested we should kick her out of our house, but I could not do that. She is my daughter. I could never give up on her. Finally, at age 17, she moved to an apartment a couple blocks away, which we paid for, and our relationship improved. She ended up earning her GED and almost achieving 2 associate degrees, despite acquiring an autoimmune disease at age 28. She has been very ill with the disease and several others ever since, and earned her academic success while she was sick. What has been amazing to watch is her growth in empathy and her ability to relate to people. She chose to be friends with children and adults, primarily in the Black community. And she has stayed friends with them, even the 8th grade teacher. She has made sandwiches and taken them to unhoused people in her adopted city of Tucson. She bought a shirt for a girl who was caught shoplifting and whose shirt was torn off when the store security person nabbed her. She decorated the bald head of a girl who was a cancer patient in the isolation ward of the hospital when she was in for an unsuccessful bone marrow transplant, so the girl could feel beautiful. Yes, Anne has been transformed, but I have been transformed as well. I have learned so much from her. I have witnessed people discriminating against her as a driver, as a patient, as a shopper, experiences I will never have. I have witnessed her ability to make friends with people in every walk of life. And more importantly, I have learned to appreciate our different views of life due to our different life experiences. I have watched a troubled child become the loving, giving person she was meant to become. I have learned about independence of spirit as she changed her name from one given to her and based on patriarchy to a name she chose for herself, Journey Couture. My hopes and dreams for my child were not the important ones. Journey's hopes and dreams are what count. She relates to and gives to others in unique and important ways, and that fulfills my hopes and dreams for her.
Many the times I've been mistaken, and many times confused. Yes, and I've often felt forsaken, and certainly misused. Oh, but I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just weary to my bones. Still, you don't expect to be a bride and bon vivant so far away from home, so far away from home. I don't know a soul who's not been battered. I don't have a friend who feels at ease. I don't know a dream that's not been shattered or driven to its knees. Oh, but it's all right. It's all right. For it lived so well, so long. Still, when I think of the road we're traveling on, I wonder what's gone wrong. I can't help it, I wonder what's gone wrong. And I dreamed I was dying. I dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly, and looking back down at me, smiled reassuringly. And I dreamed I was flying high up above. My eyes can clearly see the Statue of Liberty sailing away to sea. And I dreamed I was flying. Come on the ship they call the Mayflower. Come on the ship that sailed the moon. Come on the age's most uncertain hours, and sing an American tune. Oh, and it's all right. It's all right, all right. You can be forever blessed. Still, tomorrow's gonna be another working day, and I'm trying to get some rest. It's all I'm trying to get some rest.
Thank you, Tristan, for bringing that song to life for us here today. American Tune is a meditation on the American experience by, of course, the great singer and songwriter Paul Simon. And thank you to Nancy for sharing her story, full of hope and vulnerability of her journey with her beloved daughter. Nancy's story and American Tune evoke the idea of grand promises, one in becoming a parent of a young life, and the other promise of opportunities in our country, contrasted with the hard realities of living into those promises. These realities are too often formed by oppressions perpetuated in our culture, whether it is racism or classism or sexism or ableism, or more likely some combination that is hard to name but profoundly felt. The lament captured in American Tune is embedded in the song's history. The melody comes from an old Christian hymn called "O Sacred Head, Now Wounded," referring to Jesus' head that carried a crown of piercing thorns. This Christian hymn contrasts Jesus' commandment to love one another with a lament about the cruelty of his death. Paul Simon's version, American Tune, was written just as Nixon was elected and our country was entangled in Vietnam, both overseas and at home. Journalist Jeffrey Fleshman of the LA Times writes of it, "The song is a lament to a country that had lost its way, and a sobering recognition that you can't be forever blessed." Then, in 2022, at the Newport Folk Festival, Paul Simon reintroduced American Tune. He invited a new singer, Rhiannon Giddens, to sing the song. Rhiannon Giddens is an American musician known for her eclectic folk music, and she is a Black woman. So Simon also adjusted the lyrics to include these lines. "We didn't come here on the Mayflower. We came on a ship in a blood-red moon." Pastor Tommy Eyre notes, many of the ancestors of Rhiannon Giddens and multitudes of other Americans did not come here on the Mayflower. Some were already here. Some came on slave ships. Some walked thousands of miles north. The blood-red moon is a reference to Joel, a prophetic book in the Hebrew Bible that says the sun will turn dark and the moon will turn to blood on the terrible day when the people of the land lose their sense of love and justice. This new version of American Tune, how many of you have heard it? I'm curious. It's hauntingly beautiful. It expands the immigration narrative to include people who were enslaved, indigenous people, all of us, all the people who lament the American dream and the American reality. It does not pretend that everything is just fine. It holds our hopes and it makes space for our collective grief. Adjusting our version of history, our understanding of reality to include the suffering of others whose identities we do not share is a small example of how we begin to change our world. When we liberate a single narrative and expand it to acknowledge the grief we collectively share, it is a step towards healing. It is a step towards love. Because to build collective liberation, we must not only understand ourselves, we must understand the other. Liberating love is love that shapes the world into a just and equitable place for all. Nancy's journey with her daughter, her story is one of liberating love, guided by a hopeful and determined love Their relationship leads them to expand their understanding of one another, their realities, and shared dreams for the future. Now, in the spring of 2019, after a long haul of study and internships and striving to manage home and school, I graduated, finally, from seminary. Thank you. It was a while ago. Now, my family was really looking forward to a summer of rest and finally some more play together, and my heart was filled with powerful learnings and experiences and a belief in this new career of ministry and the opportunities it would offer to grow hope and nurture change for a community that I would serve. And I had even secured a job to begin directing religious education here at First Church. And then early in June, I promptly broke my leg, badly. And instead of rest and relaxation, we had a summer of struggle in store for us. And during that time of isolation, I craved the outdoors in ways I had never experienced before. And due to the nature of my injury, getting outside, much less to the beach, was almost impossible. But in late July, we discovered that there was a beach in Racine that had installed a wheelchair-accessible mat on the beach. And this mat allowed my family to get me from the car into the sunshine of the Lake Michigan shoreline. Now, my heart just about burst with joy. It made me so unbelievably happy to be there soaking in the sun, viewing the water and all the activities on the beach. And as I sat there observing the world, grateful for that extra long beach mat, I noticed something. The mat was not just being used by people like me that needed it for access to the beach, but it was also being used by parents with strollers and able-bodied people that just had too much to carry, and children whose feet were too hot from the sand. That mat made everybody's path easier. The universal design of that beach mat gave everybody agency to enjoy the lake more. That simple addition of a mat expanded accessibility to all. Now, universal design is the idea that we can shape an environment so that it can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by all people, regardless of their age or size or ability or disability. In a way, it's our UU theology in design, an act of universal love, housed in considering the diverse needs and abilities of all throughout the design process. So I began to ponder, where else does universal love by design show up in our culture? What are the places that we have come to agree that there is an extra need for care and consideration? I was at the beach and I'm a swimmer, so lifeguards came to mind. The role of a lifeguard is designed to be a kind of universal love role. Collectively, we agree that when someone is in distress, there should be someone there to help them out when they're in the water. But what about the rest of the time? There's an old parable about an old fish and a young fish in the water that goes like this. There are two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, and one looks at each other and nods, and they smile, and the older fish says, "Morning, friends. How's the water?" And the other two fish nod, and they swim on for a bit, and eventually one of them looks at the other and says, "What the heck is water?" For a young fish, the water is everywhere, so pervasive, so ever-present, that a fish could live its life and not even realize that it's swimming in it. So what's our water? The dominant culture is like the water we swim in, I think. The water that surrounds us so constantly that we can forget we're in the water or under the influence of ideas and values. Ideas such as materialism, bigger is better, or individualism, watch out for number one. This kind of cultural water can be invisible to us, with invisible rules and no lifeguards to protect us or those who are in distress. This water is filled with messages about the right way to do things. And many of the ideas and even motivators for these invisible rules, they're not bad in and of themselves, but taken too far, they can be harmful in creating an oppressive culture that is unwelcoming, even unsafe for so many of us physically, emotionally, spiritually. When we hear the term white supremacy, we think of a system or systems or maybe people that are attempting to oppress and control Black and brown people. I'm hopeful that most of us here do not identify with the idea of white supremacy. Yet, white supremacy culture is part of the dominant culture we swim in. And there are ideas and ways of being that we have internalized. They are ways that we perpetuate oppression. In seminary, I became aware of a paper by Tema Okun called White Supremacy Culture. And this paper contains a list of white supremacy characteristics that show up in our organizations, in our world. The author writes this: culture is powerful precisely because it is so present and at the time so very difficult to name or identify. The characteristics listed below are damaging because they're used as norms and standards without being proactively named or even chosen by the group. They are damaging because they promote white supremacy thinking. Because we all live in a white supremacy culture, these characteristics show up in the attitudes and the behaviors of us all. As I sat down with that list, what surprised me was how much of myself I recognized in them. The list of white supremacy characteristics contains ideas, habits of working, moving through the world that I regularly default to or even use to survive. It is not a list of all bad things. It is a list of dominant cultural ideas that are too often not questioned and may be harmful if placed above human relationships and human needs. The trick in using this list is not to weaponize it. It should not harm you. It should not harm others. Its purpose is to make us aware of where we might need to offer more care, more consideration, more liberating love. I believe that personal growth requires doubt, as in, I wonder what I'm not understanding, what I'm not getting quite right. One must feel a little uncomfortable in that doubt, yet hopefully not defensive, able to bravely face an internal conflict by holding the duality of wanting to protect your identity, but also to embrace other identities. In an effort to make myself more aware of these invisible influences, I keep a list of these characteristics on my desks, in my journal, and in my date book. And at the top of the list is perfectionism. Isn't that perfect? The ideal of perfectionism can make mistakes personal. It can equate making a mistake with being bad or wrong, and even prevent us from learning or by trying again. And though we know it is through our mistakes that we do the most learning, perfectionism haunts us. In our story today, Ish, Ramon is blinded to their accomplishments because the drawings are not perfect representations. It is his sister, it is his community who sees the beauty in his creations. Naming his style Ish helps Ramon move past an ideal of what they should be and appreciate the beauty in their own artistic expressions. How many times have we prevented ourselves or others from continuing on a project or believing in a thing or a pursuit because we were haunted by perfectionism? Perfection is a harsh judge that lacks compassion and misses chances to connect and grow. Perfection taps into our fear that we must change ourselves to belong, that being a good human, flawed human, is somehow shameful. Letting go of the idea of perfection means accepting the real human flaws and vulnerabilities, ours and others, make space for vulnerability, connection, compassion, certainly humor, joy, and liberating love. Second on the list of the white supremacy characteristics is a sense of urgency. Remember, I'm not saying there is never a sense of urgency. I'm sure we can all imagine times when urgency is quite necessary. Having spent some time as a chaplain working in an emergency room, I know urgency can be quite real. However, a sense of urgency is not an emergency. It is rushing to read through a poem. It is clearing the table before the meal is over, and it's so prevalent in our culture. A sense of urgency is when we approach our endeavors focused primarily on getting something done, especially if it's hard to do. Concentrating on getting it done now can sacrifice the time needed to be inclusive or encouraging to others. Moving through the world with a sense of urgency prevents us from giving ourselves, as well as others, the time to consider long-term consequences. A sense of urgency creates reactive decision-making or criticism that can sacrifice the interests of people, especially the needs of marginalized people. It can show up even with the best of intentions. A desire to help now can take action today, can lead to donating items we want to give away or think are needed, rather than taking the time to build a relationship with those in need and discover what help they desire. The urgency then can supplant the purpose of the care offered. In total, Tema Akun names 15 white supremacy characteristics in her article. Each one offers an opportunity to reflect on the ways culture, the water we swim in, affects our thinking and actions, and can perpetuate oppression. Good news. When crafting the sermon, I chose not to center perfectionism or urgency over our time and needs today. So we will not be going through all 15 of them. However, if you are curious, I did put copies of the article, White Supremacy Culture, on the RE table in the Lean House Common Room. When we challenge the norms in our society, question culture that we have internalized, it requires some tenderness and love. Be gentle, not judgmental, to follow love's liberatory path. Love is placed at the center of our Unitarian Universalist values so it can expand and encompass the marginalized. What's love got to do with it? Love releases us from holding on to historical narratives that do not tell the whole story. Love shares laments of anyone who suffers. Love accepts you and you and you, and it whispers to all of us, you belong here. Love considers how actions may not reflect intentions. Love builds more beach mats and lifeguards for every occasion and all kinds of water. Love invites us to live into knowing our interconnectedness and our interdependence. Love needs us to give it time to reveal itself. Love opens our hearts and minds to create more liberating love. Love holds us, holding all we love. And all we have to do is ask, what would love do? Let it be so. Blessed be.
There's only one way to reach across the border. There's only one hope that can loosen heavy chains. If we have love, we can free the brokenhearted. It's time to look toward the future and say,
Thank you, choir. Our closing words are from James Baldwin. The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's lights. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work in those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from view. But there is still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are that person for each other and another. Blessed be. Please rise in body and spirit for our recessional hymn. It's in your teal hymnal, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
I wonder if they